All right, Padres get the win 7-3 in game 2 of this series. We'll see what happens tomorrow, obviously, in the series finale, the final regular season road game for the Padres in 2025. Tonight was one of those where it was like, yeah, good. Won the game. What I really care about is getting into the postseason. Like, I know they're not going to win the division. They're not going to host a playoff game. They're probably going to play the Cubs at Wrigley. Just make sure they get into the postseason, and hopefully they can clinch the playoff spot tomorrow if things can go their way. Obviously, they need to win tomorrow for that to happen. And then that means this entire next week, the 2 series at home against Milwaukee and I think Arizona, um, they can just rest guys, every starter. I know you can't rest every starter every game, but you can rotate the starters that you're resting. And every starter going into the postseason will have had multiple days off, hopefully, at some point in the last week before the postseason starts. Because sure, I want them playing well, and like maybe I shouldn't be judging them on this next week because hopefully they will have clinched, and then they are going to be changing their strategy a little bit in that last week. But this last week, like, are you going to be playing well or are you not? And so hopefully this can start that of them scoring a bunch of runs. I'm not saying they have to score 7 runs a game, and I know the White Sox are one of the worst teams in baseball, and it seems like they're that every year now. Um, kind of feel sad for Will Venable, but still score, 4 or 5 runs a game. Let's see if you can do that. If you're doing that the majority of the games this next week, I'm going to feel much better about their odds, their chances of beating the Cubs at Wrigley going into it. Tonight, you had Darvish on the mound. I don't really like that Mike Schilt at the end of the regular season here is pulling starters like Darvish. It's one thing to pull a guy that's making a spot start or Michael King who's working his way back. But to pull Darvish at 78 pitches today, did it work out? Yeah, but and maybe he's preparing his relievers for the postseason. Like these guys are not going to be going 5 innings. Maybe a lot of them probably aren't be going 5 innings. So we're just this is the way we're going to roll here. So let's get you in there and get used to it. Or maybe this is how he's playing. He's playing it by game situation, and he liked the matchup obviously with Morhone going in there at that point in time. But it's Darvish. He hadn't walked anyone. He struck out 4. He was at 78 pitches. 55 of them were strikes. So it's not like he was pitching bad. And to not let him try to get through 5 innings there, you had a 4 run lead, I think, at that point. I would have just let Darvish try to finish that because I know it could have been like a 5-minute inning. That what would that have been? The top of the 6th, right? No, bottom of the 5th. Sorry, that would have been like it could have been a really quick inning, and Morejone's right back out there, but it wasn't. And so now you have to have Morejone go back out there, and yes, he did his job. 2.07 ERA. Like I have trust in Morejone. I just am kind of tired of this bullpen being more taxed than it needs to be. Sure, Schilt can make the case like they won the game, so ultimately that's the goal. And he used his 4 best relievers only. He didn't have to use more than that. But it's the using Morehone for an inning and a third. Using one of those relievers for more than an inning when I don't think that he needed to, I'm just not the biggest fan of that. Postseason time, of course. But when it's September 20th against the White Sox, I feel like you should save every bullet that you can in this bullpen from guys that have been worked a lot this season. Adrian Morejone has been worked a lot this season. I think he and Jason Adam are up there as the 2 most used relievers. I saw Kevin Acey write about that at some point in the second half of the season. So, especially when they don't have Jason Adam and they're probably not going to have David Morgan, like, I would save these as much as you can. It's Darvish. It's not some slap D guy that's coming in and, you know, you don't trust him. It's Darvish. So, didn't like that. But ultimately, they won the game, so I shouldn't be too pissed off. But I trust Darvish. Like, let him at least get through 5. I don't know. Merrill with the home run. That was great to see. He crapped on that ball. Manny coming through. Ryan O'Hearn, someone that had been struggling the last 10, 11 games, really struggling. And I'm a big O'Hearn fan. Like, just listening to his post game with Don and Mud and the personality that he showed. And I forget exactly what he said, but he was like, probably the first ball I squared up on a fastball in 3 weeks. Like, he is self-aware, and he can criticize it. He can make jokes about his play, and like I like that. I really do like that. Easy to do it when you win. I get it, but that was funny. I do like that. But he comes through bases clearing double, and when that happened, I was like, all right, Padres, they're going to win this game. Good, take care of business. And then added on, obviously, Gavin Sheets with that single there, made it 6-2. White Sox played some good defense in this game. There were a couple balls that were hit pretty hard. Manny was one of them, and Michael A. Taylor, not going to hit you anything, but he still can go out and grab you balls there in center. So that was a little bit frustrating. But Manny still did come through earlier in the game. So yeah, like it's kind of like the wins against the Rockies. Entering today, the Padres were 7-10 in September. 5 of those wins, 5 of the 7 wins were against the Rockies. So what can we really take from these wins? I don't really know. A 58-97 White Sox team. What can you really take from the Padres winning that game? For me, what I take from it is hopefully Ryan O'Hearn can get going here. Manny can keep going. Merrill can keep going. Like that's obviously something encouraging. That's really what I take. I take that guys coming out of it healthy. Bullpen did their job. Darvish, I thought, was fine out there. And yeah, that's really what I take from it. I'm probably going to be weighing too much on the team's performance this next week, but I need to start feeling better. Padres fans, we got to start feeling better about this team, and they've got to play better. One win against the White Sox isn't going to change that. Start winning series, and not just win the next 2 series. That would definitely help us, help out. And I say us, help how Padres fans feel about this team, which doesn't matter, right? It's about the team's performance, but I'd like to feel better than feel bad going into the wild card series against the Cubs at Wrigley. So yeah, that's what I got. Bogey, by the way, he's been in Peoria. He was taking at bats, I think, against the Kansas City Royals. I think I saw something about that on social media today. I retweeted it. I think he got a hit. He probably will rejoin the team Monday for the start of that series against Milwaukee. Which is that a measuring stick series? I mean, for some it will because right, like I said, they can't sit the entire starting lineup, and the Brewers can't sit the entire starting lineup. And guys that go out there, they're not going to like not try, right? So for some guys, whoever plays it can be a little bit of a measuring stick for us because the Brewers, they're the best team in the National League. So I am going to be interested in seeing how that series plays out, obviously. And then obviously they got the final series of the regular season before the wild card series. But right now, my thoughts on this potential wild card series matchup: can the Padres win it? Yes. I think they took 1 game at Wrigley against the Cubs earlier this year. So really, if you just look at that, it's like, all right, flip one of those games and you win the series, and you can move on to the division series. How do you flip one of those games? Offense come up big, perform, and the bullpen shut it down. Like starting pitchers keep you in the game. Obviously, you'd like a 5-inning shutout from whoever starts, but 1 run, 2 runs, get to the bullpen, no runs, offense. Maybe it's going to come down to a bunt that moves a runner over, and then you drive a run in there on a sac fly or an RBI single up the middle. Or maybe it comes down to a 3-run home run from someone. You never know. Like a Rise tonight. Maybe it comes down to a Rise going up the middle with a hit. Make less mistakes than the Cubs, and they can take that series. They definitely can. So I know there's Padre fans that are not very optimistic about this team, and I totally understand it. I'm kind of on that side right now, although I do think that they can win the wild card series. More the question of is like how far can they get, right? Because we do question this offense. So yeah, what I would say is I haven't checked what Cubs fans are saying, but they're probably a little bit pessimistic, I would think, going into it as well. Like, ooh, the Padres, that's a really talented team. They probably think of the big names on this team and the talent, the bullpen, Mason Miller getting acquired at the deadline, right? They probably think of those names and they're like, ooh, that's not a great wild card series for us. I know we're at home, but that's not a team I want to play. So maybe both fan bases aren't feeling great going in. We shall see about that. But yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Thank you for the time as always, and have a great rest of your weekend.